Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Wannabes podcast. I'm Morgan, that's Luke, and that's Dreaded, and we're your hosts. Well, guys, we're going to be talking about The Crow today, and specifically the 2024 Crow, starring Bill Skarsgård. So, before
Bill Skarsgård's still sexy.
Pretty good looking dude. But before we dive into our discussion and what our thoughts of The Crow, we do have some news that we're going to discuss. So a couple bits that I have before I toss it over to you, Dreaded. If anybody here was a Star Wars fan, I know we've discussed it briefly. Acolyte Season 2 has been canceled. And with that, when appearing at Dragon Con, Manny Jacinto, who is known as the Stranger and was kind of the big villain of the first season, basically asked what if he had a personal life goal, and if so, what is it? And his answer was Season 2 of the Acolyte. He is very much strong and adamant about wanting to get Season 2 out. I would like to see a Season 2 personally, and I am curious to see what will happen if his excitement and the cheers that he got at Dragon Con will hopefully help give it a push to return to the screen, though I am very, very much not in high hopes of that.
What's the timeline for the Acolyte?
When does it take place?
Mm-hmm.
High Republic, so years and years and years before we ever get Phantom Menace.
Okay, so I mean, this was
about 100 or so years.
Was this their attempt at the Old Republic? I think we talked about this before.
So yes, it wasn't their attempt at the High Republic, or now the Old Republic. But I think they needed to show more of the world. I don't think we got enough of what we know the High Republic to be, or in this case, the Old Republic.
So yeah, okay, real quick. I guess that's my question. Being that I haven't watched season 1, why isn't it catching on? What's the problem?
So
People hate women.
I mean, that's probably part of it, but I think a big part of it is just the main the main core two women, they're twins. So
Gotcha.
And it's two females. I think there's a lot of hatred from the hardcore fan base, and I'm not including myself in this. It's the people who despise anything and everything that isn't being made by George Lucas himself, and they went in strong with the immediate hate and definitely transformed, I think, early opinions for a lot of people. There are some areas of the Force and thoughts of oh, Luke being the chosen one, but why does this person have these abilities? I think people kind of skew and don't think Anakin at the time was chosen for a specific task and was the chosen one to save the Force in that timeline and in that time of their universe. And there is still really strong abilitied people before and after him. But that all aside, I think it was just issues with not wanting to accept it. I don't know. I watched it. I did like it, but I didn't love it. But I think that it was the most original thing of Star Wars we've gotten yet. And it's the most removed from ever, any of the Skywalker timeline. So, which I was excited for. I want more of that. And I think maybe it's just kind of a stigma of a little bit of everything.
So is that what the gripe is? We're not sticking to, it's not the Skywalker timeline, therefore we don't like it?
I don't think that's necessarily it, but I know that there's people out there saying that, when it's why are we staying to the Skywalker timeline at this point? There's no need. It's done.
It's done. But I mean, all right. So does the fan base just need to fucking chill, or is it just an internet thing? Because I agree with you, or I hear what you're saying, because even though I don't really watch most of this stuff, I hear about it all the fucking time, and it doesn't seem like anybody has anything nice to say about anything, regardless. Yeah. I understand there was problems with season 3, or not season 3, with Boba Fett. I understand that there might have been some issues with the last season of Mandalorian, but since then I haven't heard good things really about anything that's been coming out. This is the latest one to be included. Maybe Ahsoka is the last thing that might have gotten positive reviews. Maybe. I haven't watched that. You have to tell me. But why are you so vocal about this? Why do you? I understand being a fan, but I'm a fucking Dragon Ball fan. I was not excited for Daima at all. Now I'm excited to fucking watch it. I get a double dose of Daima and the fucking game on the same day. Like, I'm excited for this shit. Can it come out first and have a second to like ruminate before you just take a dump? Just give it a fucking second. God damn.
Yeah, I think sadly it's kind of, in my personal opinion, it's just people being absolute assholes, like genuinely.
Well, it's the internet. No, it's
It's-
just the internet.
Yeah. Well,
It's
okay,
Star Wars
no,
fans.
That's the point I wanted to make. Yeah, it's Star Wars fans, but Star Wars fans on the fucking internet. And
it is, but I also want to like hone in though. It's like these crazy like. Sorry, this is really rude, but it's almost like the basement dweller Star Wars fans.
yeah, it's the fans
like
on the internet.
Like it's I'm on the internet, but it's not me, and I'm a massive Star Wars fan.
Understand what I mean by that, though.
No,
Like,
I
there's
do,
different categories, right? And like
100%.
it sucks because it really is I feel like most of the time just a really loud vocal minority. And like, all right, cool, you don't like it, don't fucking watch it then. This isn't hard,
Mhm.
and it's a bummer because we are all aspiring filmmakers and aspiring content creators, and we want to do stuff. If we're gonna partner with somebody, maybe not, but when companies do put this stuff out, if you're gonna let the vocal minority keep doing this shit to you, you're never gonna get anything made. And that's also why we keep getting an overabundance of shit that we've seen over and over and over again. This is what you want.
Yep.
This is what you want. This is what you're bitching about, and you're getting it, and then you bitch about that. Shut the fuck up.
Thank you, Luke. Because yeah, I'm sorry, like Morgan, you said you didn't want to be rude. No, let's be fucking rude to
Be rude
people,
for a minute.
honestly. Because I'm gonna be rude with you guys. Right next to My Hero Academia fans, Star Wars fans have to be the most irritating, a fandom that I'm gonna be real, kind of despise. Not you, Morgan. You're cool. I actually like you.
Thank you.
And one of my other friends, a couple of my other friends, yes. But there are fans out there. Anytime anything new with Star Wars comes out, all of a sudden it's the worst thing anyone ever fucking did. Like, I was watching this dude, the Cosmonaut Variety Hour. I hate that man, but I also am a fan of him because his opinions are interesting, but I kind of want to fight him because of nerd reasons. But he has a very fair point, and I agree with this. I mean, this might be hateful. I might get hate for it, but I'm going to stand with this. I think the Star Wars prequels are not good. I have stood by that for years. Now, I get if you grew up with them, or maybe you got like them ironically and stuff like that. That's fair, and it has cool stuff. It has some good stuff. I had my personal issues, but I just stand by. I don't think they're good. And for the longest time, the world thought they weren't good. Everyone accepted the prequels weren't very good, right? But then suddenly Disney did Star Wars. They start making movies again, and now all of a sudden they're good. What the fuck even happened? How can you look? Okay, look, I'm not gonna stand here and say the sequels are like amazing movies. They have issues, but I think they're good on a different level of like filmmaking. Because I think the prequels are bad on filmmaking levels, but the sequels are better. And then they want to talk about like, oh, at least the prequels were original. Just because something's original doesn't always mean it's just good. Like, Star Wars fans has to be the most hardest to please people I have ever met on planet Earth, right next to certain women. I swear, especially modern women in Star Wars fan. Hardest to please, I swear to God.
I've been going to war with Star Wars fans forever, Morgan aside, because like Boba Fett to me and the fandom for Boba Fett has never made any sense to me. He's a character that shows up and does nothing, but people lose their fucking minds over him. He doesn't do anything. I have to get into the extended universe to even get anything exciting from the guy.
Have you ever watched epic rap battles in history? Have you ever? Have you seen Deadpool versus Boba Fett?
Yes.
Now listen, I'm not gonna lie, Boba Fett has some burns on Deadpool because you know enough about Deadpool. But Deadpool was right. I barely know anything about you to even diss you. You're the most overrated character anyone ever saw in 5 lines in the trilogy, and one of them was
100%.
I know. Okay, but then going back to the Acolyte though, because I'm looking on Wikipedia, they have the audience response section of Wikipedia, right? Because apparently there's a lot of criticisms towards the show being woke. Morgan, if you watch it, I'm gonna have to follow you because I am a very casual Star Wars fan. I will not go out of my way to go to the extended universe. I will one day watch the Clone Wars because I hear a lot of good stuff about it.
Oh, the Clone Wars highlight.
I even know the Clone Wars are good.
Yeah, I know that. I know that's good. And I like, okay, I don't watch the shows, but I've seen some good shit in the shows. I've seen some cool shit in The Mandalorian, like Luke or Grogu saving. I've seen the Anakin scenes in Ahsoka, which I personally actually love. And I've seen Obi-Wan fighting Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan series. Like, I peek in, but I don't go full on in, I suppose.
That was disappointing.
Fair enough. I mean, that's all you guys. But Morgan, I need your opinion. Is this show, in your opinion, woke?
No. I don't think it's woke by any means. Like, I don't think it
did.
like I don't think it's woke in the rude way that people are trying to label it as woke.
Captain Marvel is woke.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
irritatingly woke.
That
13
scene in
Reasons
the
Why.
Avengers with all the women is woke. Like
That could have been better. I didn't hate that, but
that
I was
shit
like,
woke.
okay. 13 Reasons Why
Woke.
is woke in a bad way. Like, there are a lot of things out there where I didn't watch this, so I can't really say.
Sure.
But if you're going to start assuming everything is problematically and woke because maybe there are people of color in this series or anything like that, which, for the record, let's not forget that Finn got so much hate because he was a black stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Just watch the movie and understand why he's fucking black. Leave your racism at home and shut the fuck up, you basement-dwelling assholes.
I mean, you
Or I swear
can't-
to God, I break my foot in your ass, and I will enjoy doing so because it'll be funny.
You can't leave your racism at home when you have the internet in your fucking thumbs.
That is very true.
It is what it is. I mean, it's unfortunate that it is like that, but I mean, to follow what you said about the prequels, like the only reason why they're good now is because of how much they hate the fact that Disney's making their shit now.
Yep.
And
Like,
now
And I'm gonna say from like a huge Star Wars fan, I love the prequels. I've never understood the hate that they get. Now I understand people dislike them and that there are some annoying characters that I still feel like suck it the fuck up. I know more annoying people than Jar Jar Binks, but I don't know. Like you're coming from a Star Wars fan who also loves the prequels, like all of it.
But
That's
I'm
fair.
with him 100%. And like, I'm gonna be honest, I grew up with the prequels, so I think I do enjoy them just on like an action standpoint more than I
Sure.
like the originals, because like those lightsaber fights
Yes.
are
100%.
fucking phenomenal. Those are-
100%.
Oh my god, where did that go? But
I
like,
have issues with them, but well, that's another day.
fucking Disney spent $4 billion to get this property. Okay, billion with a fucking B, you guys. That means that they're gonna do pretty much whatever they want. You want to spend $4 billion on something, you can do the exact same thing too. However, the weird thing about all this is like what happened to the prequels. When we finally get 10, 15 years down the line and they make more movies, we're going to end up hearing the same shit about these movies that we're hearing about the prequels. And that's that they're good now. Not that they were ever bad. There's issues with them as far as, I guess, the standard of Star Wars, which an argument could be made that the only actual good fucking Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. Let's just be honest here. That aside, oh, and Rogue One, but I'm talking about the core movies.
Mhm.
That aside, when new movies come out and we're in the new phase of the internet or whatever, they're gonna bitch about those, and then these movies are gonna be seen in a new light. That's what happens. It just is what it is. So everybody just in the moment just can't seem to calm the fuck down, and it's really weird and annoying. I don't understand why we do this, other than the fact that you just have the freedom and you think that you won't suffer any consequences. But you are, because like I stated earlier, you're bitching so much about these things that you don't like to get it back to what you do, that they give you what you want, and then you bitch about that. So just fucking
Make a
chill.
choice. Seriously. And not to mention, like, hang on, I want to bring this up too, because again, the Cosmonaut Variety Hour is a huge Star Wars person too. I think a huge part of why everyone's always bitching about everything modern Star Wars is because it's not like book Star Wars. Like,
I think that I do have to agree with that. I feel like people are getting upset that they aren't digging into canon, into legends and making it canon. However, this did that. We finally are seeing people from the legends that have not been canonized until this show came around. And I'm going to be honest with you, where season 1 ends, that kind of chapter, like, of that, like, the storyline is mostly complete. Like, it's going to have threads that matter for season 2. However, that is not going to be the main storyline anymore. They had a new storyline brewing through season 1 that was supposed to be what season 2 was about, which is about the Stranger and who he used to be, because the Stranger, which is the Sith the Sith that we see in this, used to be the one actress, what's her name, or the character, sorry, let me pull it up real quick.
While you're doing that, I just want to say that this just goes to show you that, like, in this age of the internet and shit like this, like, you can't, and it's not even about pleasing everybody. Like, you got to understand that I can make 100, well, that's a exaggeration of a number, but I can make multiple accounts and just spout out the same shit, and now you, as a company owner, think that there's, I don't know, 20 different people calling your thing shit. No, it's just me. It's just me with 19 different accounts.
So One thing I want to mention that's like massive is in the Acolyte, we finally get to see our first film version of the lightsaber whip or the light whip. That has been legends until this came out, and that was huge because there's only one ever Force user that we are aware of that has used this, which was the High Republic era Jedi Knight Vernestra Rwoh. Now, we learned at the end of season 1 that this stranger was her apprentice that she thought has been dead. Her season 2 was all about this character trying to find her old apprentice and probably try to bring him back to the light side, to be honest with you. But I was excited to see that, to get this character Vanessa, who's a big character in the Legends that everybody wants to see on the big screen, to finally get an even bigger role to shine in, and to kind of find out, because there's things with this stranger, with the Sith user, that ties into Palpatine's master, which is a huge deal. Like, there's a lot of really crazy good lore that I think was about to be explored in season 2 that we're missing out on because, you know, Star Wars fans can't pull the stick out of their ass.
Because bitches be bitching. I mean, it's upsetting, but this is going to be a classic case study in what happens when you concede to the fucking internet trolls. You know, they're begging, they are screaming at the top of their lungs, give me something different, do this, that, and the other. And then you do, and you still can't fucking please them.
And it's like, it's annoying to me too, because like in this, like going off of the post that IGN put of what Manny Jacinto said at Dragon Con, right? There's people like, hang it up, buddy, you got the wrong priorities. People's even saying it's my life goal not to watch it. People are judging this without even giving it a chance and even watching it to judge it, because they're just listening to the masses.
No, that's what we do now. And companies, particularly Disney, like all they want to do is, at the end of the day, is make money. So they'll go out on a limb to a degree, but as soon as something like this happens, it's okay, reel it in, take it back to the fold. It's what they want. And then the next thing, I guarantee you, if we get another Star Wars thing, it's going to be more like everything else that you've seen, and they're still not going to like it. So
I guess, can we really be surprised after all the hate that The Last Jedi got, which is a film I personally will never understand why it was so hated.
I get it from
some areas.
Storytelling standpoints. I get it. Just only a couple. But that's what. But see, that was a mix of finally trying something different. Also,
they bitched about it still.
Well, also behind the scenes, that's I put that more on Disney for not having a more concrete plan of how they wanted that trilogy to play out. Anyway, Facts. They were like, okay, J.J. Abrams, make your movie. Ryan Johnson, make your movie. Colin Trevorrow, make your movie. And Colin's the one that got screwed and probably had the best idea.
Honestly, it should not have hopped that many hands. It should have stayed with one person. If one director kept it and went all the way with it, it probably would have been a way better trilogy.
So that's
I say JJ should have stuck with it the entire time, because all the ideas he set up in The Force Awakens was actually what I was excited for. I will say I was disappointed in those not being followed up in The Last Jedi, but I still, in my opinion, liked the movie. I thought it was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, Rogue One is my favorite movie that Disney's put out so far. It's hands down Rogue One. Like, keep making that type of shit, I'm down. Honestly, war and Star Wars it's in the fucking name, goes hand in hand. Give me more actual like war in your Star Wars. But outside of that, this shit with this, and like, I mean, it's weird that everybody's trying to do the Marvel thing, but doesn't understand that you gotta have your plan laid out first.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
you gotta have it all laid out and then stick to it. You know. Anyway.
All right. I think I've had enough talking about Star Wars, honestly, because I'm sick of talking about those fans because I hate them.
Here's another topic I'd like to discuss with you guys. I'm very, very curious to see your reaction to, but Netflix...
Just wait until we get to the fucking review.
Netflix has greenlit a new animated series. Oh, boy.
Is it the One Piece new animation?
No.
We'll get to that on another show.
Another show. I don't want to talk about that either.
We'll do that later.
Netflix has officially greenlit an animated series that will cover the events of author Stephanie Meyer's 2020 retelling, Midnight Sun, which means we are getting an animated series that is going to give us Twilight from the perspective of Edward.
Edward Cullen. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's what Midnight Sun was.
Yes.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care, and I don't care. And I say again, I don't care. I don't care. Guys, I don't care. Go ahead.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this again. I went through Twilight hell from 2008 to hang on, when did this end? When did this actually end? 2008 to 2012. Yes. No, I'm not doing this again. I don't want to do it again. I don't give a fuck about Edward. He is a terrible boyfriend. Honestly, Jacob sucks too, but he was a better choice than the fucking Edward. Or he at least... Nope, we're not getting into this. No, I am getting into this. And fuck you, Bella. I don't want to hear shit on how much you like Bella from your perspective, because everyone already knows how much Bella fucking sucks. Shut up. I don't care.
Honestly, like I said, I don't give a shit, but I think he's onto something there. This shouldn't be from Edward's point of view. It should be from Jacob's.
I agree. No, I 100% agree with that.
That sounds a little more interesting. However, again, I don't fucking care.
Yes.
This is not for me. It's never gonna be for me. If you're a fan of Twilight, congratulations. You get to have your moment in the sun for another 5 minutes. The only reason I like the first one is because Linkin Park is at the end of the fucking credits. Otherwise, go fuck yourself. Yeah, leave out all the rest. This is song.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the only reason I give a fuck about that movie. Other than that, don't care.
We do know that Stephanie Meyer is attached to the project as executive producer, joining her.
Oh, that's any good.
Yep. Which someone who joined her through her Fickle Fish films, Umbrella, is her partner, Megan Hibbett, and Temple Hill Entertainment's Wick Godfrey and Marty Bowen, as well as Picture Start's Eric Feig and Sammy Kim Falvey, have also boarded the Twilight series, along with Tell Me Lies and The Walking Dead World Beyond veteran Sinead Daly, I believe is how I say that, who will serve as executive producer and writer. So there's some big-ish names that are going to be behind this. I think that we should be getting Jacob's... Property. Yeah, I think we should be getting Jacob's point of view, but that book wasn't written. Midnight Sun was, which is from Edward's point of view, which who knows?
So
maybe they'll make us like Edward Cullen more.
Hold on.
Okay.
So you're telling me she wrote Twilight, and then she wrote Twilight again, just from a different point of view, but it's the same fucking thing.
So
I hate this franchise. I hate this franchise.
I
hate this author. I hate what it has spawned. I hate the bullshit that I get from people that like this shit. I hate the fact that it got a bullshit like 50. I hate that 50 Shades of Grey came from this. I hate it all.
Fucking facts. So,
but if you're a fan, have fun with it.
I will say though, it hasn't ever been made to a film adaptation. But if you guys know the story Pride and Prejudice, the book, the films, like the Pride and Prejudice.
I know Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
No, but
I saw
in general, for anybody who knows it, like there's the main character Elizabeth and the love interest Darcy, and later there has been a book since written not by the original author but by a different author called Darcy's Diary, which is like basically Pride and Prejudice but from his point of view, because we don't really get a lot of it. That book is actually very well written and very good, mind you. I think that's way more compelling side than fucking Edward's. Because I feel like we get a lot of Edward's perspective and like his brooding annoyance.
Yeah, in the fucking story as it is.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So what am I gonna get? Just an extra 10 minutes of him in his fucking sparkly sunshine, just being like,
think
oh my
what
God.
We're going to get is, you know, the part with like them having the kid and then like him trying to protect Bella and his child and everything. I think that's where we're gonna get the most Edward perspective that we hadn't gotten yet.
All right, here I want to say this right now. To the new emos out there, don't go to Twilight. Watch the movie we're about to review instead.
The last thing I want to say about this specific topic is the only reason I think this is becoming a series is because they're leading hard into the love that book talk. Though there's plenty of hatred for Twilight also in book talk, I feel like the book talk side of TikTok is gonna help this series shine,
for sure.
or at least make it money.
Of course it fucking is. I hate this series. I'm not done yet. I hate this goddamn series. And you know what else I really, really kind of hate too, that I really think about sometimes? I don't think there was ever really a love triangle in Twilight. It was obvious who was going to get picked. So why did fans trick themselves into thinking she might pick the other? Clearly, she was leaning towards one. Hell,
Clearly, she was wrong.
Yes, very wrong. Look, I ain't gonna act like Jacob's amazing either, but he was better than fucking Edward.
You guys are killing me by giving it this much time.
I will give it 2 things I will ever say nice about this entire thing. 1, the werewolves are kind of cool. I mean, they're not werewolves. They're animaguses from Harry Potter, but they're still kind of cool. And 2, hear me out. I think in an alternate universe, this kind of could work if you change so much. No high school shit. No sparkly stuff. I'm gonna go and take a page out of your guys' book. More gothic, more accurate to vampires and werewolf stuff. Or unless you want to change certain things but still stay a little faithful and make better characters.
So I just thought of something fucking hilarious, right? Because this is a retelling of the whole story of Twilight through Edward's perspective, right? So I've only seen the battle from the last movie, which is actually not that bad. But then you find out that she just envisioned the whole thing. So for that whole thing that didn't happen, I'm gonna get Edward's perspective of him just being like,
I must protect Bella and Esme from everyone.
He's just gonna stand there because nothing actually happens. There's no actual fight. They don't actually do battle. He's just gonna stand there. They're all gonna gather at the end, and then they're just gonna be like, all right, we're done.
Pretty much.
Hey.
Look,
yeah,
okay.
They're gonna have to jazz it up a little bit. Go ahead.
Enough Twilight. I'm done with this crap.
Well,
okay.
That is the 2 topics I had dreaded. Please take it away with what you had.
Okay, so first thing we've got here is, according to Culture Crave on your Twitter, Josh Brolin has reportedly been offered a role of Hal Jordan in the DCU Lanterns series. Which is a weird... Okay, so I'm going to say this now. I have no idea what the hell the DCU or anything DC film, TV related wants to do with Green Lantern. We got one movie. It was bad. We got cameos in Justice League twice. They've been mentioned, but nothing ever actually came of them because I don't think Warner Brothers truly knows what they want with this series. Did they want something serious? I heard once they wanted to do like a buddy cop series with like Hal Jordan and I think one of the newer Lanterns or something like that. Like, I know Jon Stewart was supposed to initially show up in Justice League, but then Warner Brothers was like, no, we have plans for Lantern. So then we got Martian Manhunter instead, which I'm not really mad about. I do not know what is going on with Lanterns. I don't know what to expect. And Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan, I'm going to be real with you. As much as I like Josh Brolin, and my favorite role is Cable, that is actually my favorite thing he's done, not Thanos, fight me. I don't think I would have guessed Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan, unless we're doing the Batman thing with Batman v Superman, where this is an older Hal Jordan who's been at this for a while. Then I can understand.
That's what I'm thinking. And you know what?
Yep.
I'm gonna give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. Okay, because the Guardians of the Galaxy is phenomenal. I don't care what anybody says. All 3 movies are great in their own rights. I have varying degrees of greatness, but they're all great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's the only director to come into the MCU and actually got to execute his plan. And it was great. All 3 of those movies. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. And if he has control of this, that we're gonna get something at least decent. It's gonna be cohesive. It's gonna make sense. And as long as whoever is behind him or on the board or whatever stays the fuck out of his way, I think we're gonna be fine. I also think that that's exactly where we're going with this. He's gonna play an older Hal Jordan, and he's probably gonna hand the mantle off to hopefully a younger Jon Stewart. If that's where we go with this, I'm totally on board. If it's just a fucking old ass Hal Jordan doing like the Dark Knight Returns as Green Lantern, I'm also on board with that. I'm gonna wait and see, but I have enough faith in James Gunn that if he can make it through Superman, I think we're gonna be fine. The hardest thing to do is gonna be Superman.
Which also, hang on, I gotta bring this up because I just went to DC, the new DC stuff. I looked up the cast for Superman, the upcoming Superman movie. Guess who's in this movie?
Josh Brolin.
A Green Lantern.
Oh.
It's Guy Gardner, though, a character who I'm not very familiar with. So, okay, so we got Green Lantern showing up there.
I think that is the OG Green Lantern.
Is it?
I think. The one with like the red costume and the cape. I think that's who that guy is. No?
No, that's not him.
Oh, never mind. I have no idea who he is then.
Yeah, I would say I don't know either.
Which, whatever, it's the Lantern Corps, so who gives a shit if there's multiple? But yeah, that'll be a nice introduction. Then you can take me to my grizzled vet, Hal Jordan. Awesome. But But yeah, we got to get through Superman.
Oh, update, because I'm on Wikipedia. Okay, there is actually there's some news on Lanterns. Okay. So apparently this is supposed to be a show starring Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, actually. So that's what we're doing. And apparently they're investigating a mystery on Earth, actually, that leads into the main storyline for the DCU. Oh.
Awesome.
That's actually interesting.
There's potential here, and that's just the thing, is hopefully Warner Brothers learned their lesson to stay the fuck out of the creator's way.
You know
They
what?
did not.
We're going to find out.
I know.
Right.
I know why Josh Brolin is being potentially cast.
Why is that?
Because of that job, dude. And that chin. Like, I'm looking through photos of, like, just comic images of Green Lantern, just seeing if I can visualize it, right? And yeah, older Hal Jordan definitely got that like chin and like jawline that Josh Brolin got. Not gonna lie, especially if we're going with an older version, which I think would be a good idea after what we've already gotten from Green Lantern.
Yeah, well, Josh Brolin's badass. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, hey,
I like that dude. He's cool.
I'll take him in anything. The man commits.
All right, so there goes that. Now, last thing we've got. So, who here likes Minecraft?
I love Minecraft.
So we got our teaser for a Minecraft movie.
All right, this trailer is stupid. This whole idea is stupid. I'm not on with this. I mean, Jack Black is funny. He probably is going to be funny, but this is dumb. I saw the trailer. It looks stupid. I don't know what we're doing. Why? Why is this a thing? Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that these characters are not integrated into this world well at all. This is obvious green screen, and my God.
Yeah.
And what's sad is that this is a weird thing. I don't know how to word this. The world looks good and bad at the exact same time.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's well made, like on a CG level of design, but
It looks bad because there's humans in it.
trying to incorporate Minecraft into like an actual like CG look is weird.
Let me start. I would just need to say this right now. If we're going to do a Minecraft movie or a Minecraft series or show, it needs to be completely animated.
That's what I thought they were gonna do. I thought we were getting a movie like the Super Mario Bros. Movie. It was completely animated from like Illumination. Everything looked faithful and stuff like that in a unique way. I thought that's what we were gonna do, but this is what we get.
And I love how at the end of the trailer, Jack Black says his name is Steve. Like, that's supposed to be some great reveal or some shit. Like, who fucking cares, dude?
Well, Steve is you know who Steve is though in Minecraft,
yeah, I know
right?
who Steve is, but in this context, who the fuck cares? Obviously, he's playing Steve. It's the only character you play in the fucking game.
And on Wikipedia, what the premise of this film is: 4 misfits. Garrett the Garbage Man, played by Jason Momoa. Henry, Natalie, and Dawn, played by Sebastian Hansen, Emma Myers, and Danielle Brooks, find themselves struggling with ordinary problems when they are suddenly pulled into a mysterious... Oh, God.
Who's this for?
I don't know. Hold on. Someone called Black Nerd Comedy.
Like,
It's another
15
one. It's
younger.
another one. If you guys...
I know Black Nerd Comedy.
Oh! That is my favorite YouTuber, actually.
I like it. I like it.
Anyway,
But who's this for?
portal into the
13-year-olds
overworld,
or younger.
a bizarre cuban wonderland that thrives on imagination. To get back home, they'll have to master this world and protect it from evil things like piglins and zombies too, while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected expert crafter, Steve, of course, Jack Black. Together, their adventure will challenge all 5 to be bold and to reconnect with the qualities that make them uniquely creative, the skills that they need to thrive, the very skills they need to thrive back in the real world. Ramp, wow. Damn. This move, okay, and also I just want to say this. You guys got to read the comments. The comments on this are hilarious.
Man,
The pig from Minecraft Story Mode died for this. I can't believe I might have to apologize to Minecraft Story Mode.
You know what I need, because now that I've seen this trailer and this has been made, I need a little bit of an apology for Borderlands.
Oh Lord.
Borderlands at least tried to do something. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? What is this? Why is this?
I just feel like they're slamming like the vibe we got for Jumanji and just slamming into like they're just basically Jumanjiing Minecraft.
That's actually not a bad take. That's not a bad take at all. I'm on board with that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I don't.
I am
Why?
I am not a fan of the CG real life look at Minecraft, and I am not a fan of regular people getting into a portal into Minecraft. Tell a story in the Minecraft universe.
It's always.
You know what?
Too.
I wouldn't be upset with how how the CGI looks if the people were not real people.
Right.
Mhm.
I think
No,
I would
I
like
agree.
it better, but I feel like they just break how I look and view this world.
Yeah, it looks too weird.
Yep. No. And actually that goes a long way to showing that, I guess, the genius of Sonic, I suppose. Because while I want it to take place in the Sonic world, you obviously have to get rid of human characters because they wouldn't fit.
Right.
It wouldn't make any sense. Clearly, look at this shit.
Also, what's up with Jason Momoa's hair?
You
Dude,
know what?
my man, I don't hate anybody's hustle at all. But what is the line from Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park? You were so busy thinking about how you could, you never stopped to think whether or not you should, or something like that. Like,
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the line.
why the fuck did you agree to do this?
I feel like Jason Momoa is just like that fun, chill dude who'll just do shit, just like Jack Black. I think they're in the same mindset of roles they take.
I tell you what, if I'm going off of
agree,
visual
still.
appearance, though, I'm already on board for Jack Black's character over all the others.
Fair
Or
enough.
sorry, I like Jack Black and Jason Momoa are the only two characters I currently care about. The other three can just fuck off. I don't care.
I don't know who any of them are actually.
They're
Same.
nobodies. They created them for this movie, I assume.
No, I'm talking about the actors.
Oh, I just what? Never mind. Never mind. I have to save my angst.
Save it for when we review it.
No, we gotta say.
I'm not watching this. No, I'm not watching this. I'm telling you right now. You guys want to watch it? You're doing it all on your own.
I
not.
will
Alright,
watch
I'm
it.
telling you right
I
now.
will watch this genuinely for this show because I think it would make a hilarious episode for us.
Somebody better crack my fire stick. Then I'm not paying money for this.
If you guys make me watch Mufasa the Origin Lion King movie,
I'm not making you watch Mufasa. I'm not gonna
I
watch
am.
Mufasa. Who the fuck is watching Mufasa?
I think that one.
Get
Because I have
KP
theory.
get
I have
KP and
theories.
Somebody else to be on the show.
I
with you
have
for that one.
theories. I have theories for the Mufasa show that I need to know if they are right or not.
Okay, have fun.
All right, well then. Oh god damn.
Where I think we should review the
We gotta talk.
Minecraft movie.
it's-
I
don't
will
wanna-
throw out a poll, and if the poll says we're doing the Minecraft movie, we'll have to be on it. And Luke, I will buy your $5. I will buy your ticket as long as you go on $5 night with me.
Morgan, that's the most dangerous
Probably make
idea
that
you've
work.
ever come up with, leaving it up to a poll on movies we might have to watch.
No, leave
that
it
is
up
the most.
to a poll. No, leave it up to a poll because I'm confident.
Guys, don't do this to us. Please don't do this to us.
I'm
Help us.
confident they'll be like, nah, don't do it. Well, not a poll right now. There's only 4 people.
It's all right.
Put
Anyway.
it out on X.
I will put the poll out on Twitter, everybody. So if you
X.
don't have a Twitter or X, go make one and go follow us because I promise you, I will put it up and I want everybody to vote on it, please.
Twitter was cool. X is definitely the sign of a once balding megalomaniac that happened to come into some money.
So, who's ready for the real movie?
I am. I guess.
Well, I will take it away with box office if y'all are.
Let's do it.
Get into it.
All
I'm
right,
sad,
everybody.
though.
As we have stated, we are doing our movie review of the 2024 movie of The Crow. So this does star Bill Skarsgård, for anybody who does not know.
And
First
FKA
things
Twigs.
first. Yeah,
And Danny Houston.
I have thoughts. Anyway,
That's really all you got to know.
Yeah,
the runtime for this was 111 minutes, so it's actually just under 2 hours. The budget for this film was only 50 million. And for our box office, in the United States and Canada, The Crow was released alongside Blink Twice and The Forge. It was initially projected to gross 6 to 9 million from 2,752 theaters in its opening weekend. After making 2 million on its first day, including an estimated $650,000 from Thursday night previews, so like a little bit over a quarter of it came from just Thursday alone. Projections were lowered to 4.5 to 5 million. The film went on to debut for 4.6 million, finishing 8th at the box office. Deadline actually called the opening disastrous, noting that the original film opened to 11.7 million back in 1994. And so basically, if anybody wants to know like what that adjusted number in 2024 would be, adjusted for inflation, that would have been equal to like 35.5 million now. But yeah, there's another review say Kotaku blamed the film's performance on the general lack of popularity of the film series. But as of September 2nd, The Crow has grossed 8.6 million in the United States and Canada and another 6.4 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $15 million.
Worldwide.
Worldwide, only 15 mil.
That makes me sad.
Makes me sad.
I also would like to blame it not only just on maybe a lack of popularity from the franchise, because this has been a dormant franchise for a long time. I want to say lack of marketing too, because this movie only got one trailer, and I never saw anything else.
I would like to go on, if you guys don't mind, and you're more than welcome to follow or to jump in. But before we end this, there is a bit of a diatribe that I want to say about this film franchise as a whole and the fandom, like we just did for Star Wars. I got things to say about the Crow fandom.
I want to say, stating off, I've never seen the original Crow, so please know that of me going into this.
Thank you, because I was gonna ask that question. You have though.
I've seen most of it.
Okay, so you're gonna for the most part get where I'm coming from when I do make the comparisons, because like I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sadly you're gonna have to.
Have to. But
hey,
but
thank you so much for the Prime sub, Forsaken Rose. Thank you, Kim.
But fuck, I got things to say to this fandom, because much like the Star Wars fandom, like they're making kind of the same mistakes, and it's unfortunate, and it does need to be addressed. Anyway, we can start talking about the movie though for right now.
Well,
as the not expert of this franchise, Luke, do you want to lead the review for us?
No, I do not.
Dreaded review.
I will. Okay,
being
fine.
the middleman.
Sure, I'll do it. I don't have that much knowledge of the Crow, but I'll do it anyway. So, The Crow, starring Bill Skarsgård and FK Twigs. Well, I guess we can just give a brief summary of what the film is about. So we've got Eric Draven and Shelley. What's
Eric?
her last
Just
name?
Eric.
We know it's Draven, okay?
Is it?
I mean, they don't say it in this movie, but
Yeah, it's Eric.
know.
Just call him Eric.
All right, Eric and Shelley, two lovebirds, who in this movie get a little bit more development on the relationship, actually, too, who are brutally murdered. However, wait, hang on. How do I word this? Because this movie is different from the OG movie, actually, too.
They don't even really get brutally murdered.
They're murdered.
They definitely get murdered, but I wouldn't say brutally.
I'm sorry. I kind of remember how the OG went. Okay, two lovebirds are murdered, but as a character would say, when something so bad happens, the soul cannot rest. And a crow, they resurrect to put things back to the right places. So Eric is resurrected and is out on a quest for vengeance. Although there's actually a little bit more to his quest in this film than it was the stretch in the OG film as well.
Thank you for this.
So basically, this is a vengeance film about avenging your own murder.
They do try to expand on a couple things, and I do got to give this movie credit, because there are things that I have waited forever to see translated onto film as far as the original graphic novel is concerned. Mm-hmm. And it's not panel for panel, but they do throw in a lot of the imagery from the novel into this movie. And I appreciate them for that, because for anybody that knows about the novel or has read it, it's a beautiful fucking novel. It's a beautiful graphic novel. It's one of the best things I've ever read. It's fucking phenomenal. And it's written and illustrated by a man named James O'Barr, who is a native here in Detroit. And his story alone is tragic enough. So this whole franchise is just built on is legitimate tragedy. So if you don't know the lore, do yourself some homework, and you will be pleasantly entertained. But yeah, I give it credit for that. As far as Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs, I don't hate them in this movie, but the creative decision on how they portray these characters, to me, it doesn't quite hit the mark.
So going off of that, I like Bill is portraying this character Eric way more than I like FKA Twigs as Shelley. At times, a lot of times with Shelley, I'm like, why do I care? You're just there as the plot device. You know, like there wasn't a lot for me to really care about Shelley other than all right when she dies, so the plot moves on. You know what I mean? For me though, like I think this film, this may be a hot fucking take. I think this film is a good like thriller mystery, like almost like detective kind of film. We don't need like the storyline of The Crow for this to be a good film.
I still appreciate The Crow in it, honestly.
No, I agree. I like it.
See,
I like the supernatural vibe that it has to it, but I think we could still have this like psychological thriller, supernatural vibe without even necessarily like this. There's a good just like murder thriller story here outside of the story of The Crow.
So there's pretty much every film in the franchise has the same beats. You have two characters that are in love, a tragedy happens, one of them comes back and goes on a mission of revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one just basically gave me, would we say, it comes under just about 2 hours. It gives me a real drawn out origin story, which to me isn't something that I needed because of how the comic does it and the original does it. It's not something that they have to like. I don't need to see their relationship. It's something that is very much shown to me through flashbacks, imagery, implied stuff. Like it's there already to where we can get to what the actual fucking theme of the movie is, which is grief. That's the whole point of this movie. It's to help you. It's Eric getting through his grief. I didn't necessarily feel that in this movie because of all the extra stuff. Anthony, I'm gonna let you go because you'll probably get me back on track.
So funny enough, I'm on a different path with you guys because I like Eric a lot actually, and I actually also do like Shelley. And while Luke, while you say like, okay, we don't really need a drawn out version of seeing the romance bloom, I don't have the biggest connection to the OG stuff, but I actually did like watching the relationship.
I did like it. I liked watching that as well. I want to state that now. I liked watching it bloom. I just didn't like the character as much. That's all.
Go ahead.
I didn't mind it, but I liked watching it bloom because I'm gonna be real. It actually made me care more when they die. Like I actually cared more, and I actually like like in the OG, yes, of course I want you to get vengeance for the horrible thing that happened. But seeing you two like meet, like fall for each other, learn about each other, and sadly die together, like I feel like I'm way more invested, and yeah, I like it.
I agree with that.
Like, of course, I know what's gonna happen, but I feel like I care a little bit more.
I guess what bugs me about it is, like what Morgan said, is I'm not the biggest fan. I like Eric after he dies. I'm not a big fan of Eric until that point. And yeah, the Shelley character didn't.
I love Carrick all the way through. I like Eric all the way through. Shelley, I didn't love, but I loved. I liked watching their relationship blossom because it made me invested. Not necessarily when they invested, like, oh, for the death and like, oh man, I'm feeling it. It made me invested to see what was going to happen for Eric and how Eric was going to handle this. Because from the get-go, I really liked Eric.
I
almost wanted more flashbacks of Eric's past, though, to get from the horse and him torching his mom's house to him at the recovery center.
Okay, that's also what bothered me too, is the fact that I got to see these characters grow. Right, I got to see their actual love story, but then they also decided to give me flashbacks as well. Like I just saw it. I just saw this. You don't have to give me a flashback for the thing I just saw. So that was a bit annoying. I don't understand, because it's a trope. It's a trope in the comic. It's a trope in the other movies. But if you're gonna do that, then why make me sit through the whole fucking thing if you're just gonna continually beat it over my head? But the thing that I like about these characters is that Eric in the OG and the comics, he's just a dude, and there's nothing really like totally messed up with him or anything. He's a guy that they're two people that something tragic happened to them. I don't need them to be on drugs or to be in rehab or to fucking be that messed up. They can just be people, because bad things happen to people. Like that's good enough. You don't have to try and give me this fucking tattooed Gen Z, and I'm sorry to say it like that, but this like. And he's based off of what rapper is he based off? His design is based off of a rapper that passed away not that long ago.
Lil Peep.
It's based off Lil Peep. I don't need that. He can just be a guy, and like the shit happens, and then he becomes exceptional. Instead, they went out of their way to like fit him into this box, and that bugs me because it feels like he's in a box. I can't relate to the box that he's in.
Well, what about the OG movie where he's he is a musician though?
He is a musician, but he is a musician that like hasn't made it. And they don't really show me too much about like his, other than the rocker thing. I really don't know much about him. He's just a dude. They're just two people that are about to get married. Spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen the original Morgan, earmuffs. There are two people that are about to get married, and like the day before they get married, they get killed. And that's the whole thing. Is they're up and coming. They're very much up and coming. Their life is about to start, and it gets cut short. These two characters are just fuck ups. But not that there's anything wrong with that, but like there's nothing that they do to really make them likable to me until after they die. Then I start to get on Eric's side because he's in love and all this other stuff. But like the relationship, they don't even show me that much. And I think some stuff was cut in this movie, but it doesn't even really show me their relationship. They're together for like a week in this movie, and then they die.
Nope. Wait, time out.
That's what
I know it's feeling. I think that's a pacing relative, but I noticed one little thing. I think Shelly's hair changed at one point from one point to another. Like, okay,
yeah,
I think
she actually it goes from like her curls to like straight dreads.
Sure.
Locks.
I think if that would have had a little bit more time, and I think we all agree that something might have been cut. If that extra stuff would have been in there, maybe it would have hit a bit different for me.
Sure.
But like. But because it's not, and it is a pacing issue, you want me to get invested in a relationship that's only been happening for like 5 minutes. Like, right?
No.
And then they don't even. It's so fucked up to say. I realize how I'm gonna sound saying this, but they don't even really die that tragically. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to hold off real quick on that. I'm glad they didn't, because for my reasons. There's one thing I'm like, please don't do that in this movie, because I really don't want to watch that.
No.
Thank God I did.
No, I'm with you on that.
I did not want to see that.
I'm not a particular fan of that either, but it does hit that much harder though when they do it. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. But even still, just like all the beats that I know are coming, they just don't really hit. But after we get through that stuff, and it actually turns into Eric, being the Crow. And even though it's like an origin thing until he finally gets where he needs to be, I'm still on board with that, because now I get to see your take on essentially what the story is to me, if that makes sense.
Now, I want your guys' opinion on what Dan has put in chat. Dan has said that they think it would have been cool if they marketed the film as Eric is the one who gets revived, who is the Crow, but it ends up actually being Shelly who gets the true revenge.
So check this out. There is a story for the Crow. It's only in comics, but there is one where it is a pregnant woman, and that one is pretty fucking cool too. And I think a story like this lends itself more to having your hero be the woman. I think the whole lovers being in the young love and the tragedy of being killed and all that shit, I think it hits a lot harder if it is the woman that comes back and actually does the revenge. Because I think just inherently, in my experiences, when you're in a relationship, it affects the woman more than it does the man, and that's in my experiences. Just when it comes down to like, if it ends, Morgan, you're going to be a little more hurt than I am, So I think just based off of that, if it would have been Shelly, yeah, it might have been more interesting. Not to mention the fact that I've seen this story before, right?
Sure.
I've read the comic, I've seen the original, I've seen all the sequels. I know where this is going. So yeah, that actually would have been a nice shakeup. But I get why they didn't do it.
So
we just talked about it with Star Wars.
Yeah, I also will have to say this too regarding Eric and Shelly's relationship and the stuff Eric goes through, considering, because you mentioned earlier, Luke, that a lot of what the point of the Crow is him processing grief. This film is very different, actually. It's actually, we're spoilers, y'all. It's been out for 2 weeks, and I don't think anyone's going to see that box office.
Made 15 million worldwide. Go ahead and spoil it.
His quest is also about vengeance, but it's also more about saving Shelly's soul, because they do something very different with the antagonist of this film. Yeah. But go back to what I was going to get my point on to. I think another reason why I like their relationship, why I don't mind Shelly at all, and why I like his journey in this is because, bizarrely, I feel like I can relate. Because when you think about it, if I think about it like this, I think I like the relationship because I know what it's like to be two kind of broken people finding each other and finding value and happiness in a life that's kind of sort of done you wrong.
Sure.
Which I'm not gonna get into my personal stuff or anything like that, but I've gone through. I mean, I've been down, very down,
Sure.
in places that I never really thought I would be until I really started thinking about it and finding the root of a lot of my issues. Right? I guess I. Hold on, thought I didn't see her hydrate. My bad.
I don't
just
have
don't
anything,
hydrate.
guys. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have nothing. Thank you though for the opportunity. I'm empty. I can't get up.
I think I like it because there's a part of me that kind of like relates and understands this kind of finding of one another. I'm not into drugs, nothing like that, but it's more of like two broken people finding each other, only for them to be kind of torn apart again, and how far one will go to save the one you love.
Sure.
So I find some relatability in that mindset and ideal, because I'm like, yeah, I feel like Eric's decision on what he does in the end of this film, like, yeah, I feel like I would do the same shit.
At its core, that's what the story is, right? Even the original book is like that. It's Eric is the broken one, and the Shelley character coming into his life gives him meaning, and that's why it's tragic when it gets ripped away from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they did enough in this movie to make me feel that, though. Like Morgan was saying, if I could have got more of his backstory, because we just kind of meet him in rehab, and there's a couple flashbacks. Like it's enough to let me know he comes from a broken home, but why is it broken? Why is he in rehab? Don't know. He's just there, and he doesn't talk to anybody. And then Shelley.
I feel like his use of drugs was definitely a clear showing of like why he's in rehab, because he's a druggie. And look at him, he's covered in tattoos and shit too. I'm not trying to judge anyone covered in tattoos, but I said covered. You don't have face tats.
I never will.
Good, but I'm just like, I feel like it's a more of an implied thing. Like, okay, I know why you're here. I mean, hell, look at why Shelley got in there too. She literally got caught with drugs on purpose to get away from her, from the people hunting her.
Well, I mean, that's.
I mean, my whole look at it though. My whole look at it too though is the fact that like why I want more of Eric's backstory is like, okay, our flashbacks we only see him when he's like what, probably 7, 8, maybe.
Well, he's also
older.
the one that we.
And then we see when he's like in his 30s, like.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there needs to be more in between there. I need to see more of what happened and what has made his life so bad for him to go down the avenue of drugs. Like, well, I feel like there is more to explore in his past than what we were given.
That's why I think
knowing from like I have family who has gone down this path and who got into drugs, and there's more than just one fucked up mom and a dead horse.
But that's why Dan's comment makes more sense. That it probably should have been Shelley, because we see her backstory. I don't get Eric's backstory. I get hers, and she's the one that dies, and I don't see her anymore. If I'm gonna follow the fucking person that's out for revenge, I want their story. I don't get Eric's. I get Shelley's.
And just like Dan said, we have more backstory to Shelley. The only reason I feel like we didn't get Shelley is because. And I don't agree with this. Like, I don't think this should have been why. I feel like we don't get her because she's already basically gets the crazy anxiety attacks when it comes to Vincent, our bad guy, right? Like, she is terrified of this man, which is understandable. But I think that would be a more of like an empowerment move. Like, I'm able to take on the mantle of the Crow because I'm here to murder this man, to get rid of this man who's caused me to do bad things and who has literally tainted my entire life since I've met him.
And then he took away the one person that I actually fell in love with. Like, that
the one person that gave me my escape from him.
That would have worked 100%. I mean, just think about it, because she has that anxiety. She comes back, and the first time she's like right next to him, getting ready to attack him, and can't. And then maybe we do it again. And then at the end of the movie, she finally gets over it and fucking does it. I get the same story that I got with the Eric character, but now I get it with Shelley, and it makes more sense because I'm more invested because I've seen more of her shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And again, not that that's a problem, because just want to let you guys in on a little secret, even though you're probably not thinking that. I do like this movie. This is probably the best Crow movie that I've gotten since the original. And I did go back and watch City of Angels. That is the first sequel. And that movie is cheesy as fuck now in today's time. Oh my God. But I love it so much. This one is taken more seriously. I do see the effort that was put in to try, and not only just to make this its own thing, but also to throw in, like I said, the imagery from the comics, which is shit that I've never seen before. The white horse in the train. There is a character called the Skull Cowboy in the comic that I have been dying to see on screen.
He's essentially the Grim Reaper, but he's so fucking cool. Never been able to pull him off in any of these movies. Don't know why. Anyway, so it was cool to see that. It was cool to see the new stuff that they brought to the table. But like, again, FKA Twigs isn't very good in this. Is it just me? I don't know, but I don't.
I agree with you. I'm not a fan of her portrayal, but part of me wonders, like, I mean, she's been in 36 things, but a majority of that is all of her music videos, right? Like, actually, if I'm looking at this, she's
in Honey Boy.
All of her stuff is music videos, except for Honey Boy and except for this, right? Yeah. So maybe a couple other things, but either way, like, I think it could be partially her being a slightly newer actress, like still getting her legs and finding herself in her craft, but also it could have been the direction she was given for the character.
I'm gonna say a mix of both.
And I agree with you. Right? I think it's a mix.
It's not enough for me to like, hate her, but it's not enough for me to really enjoy her either. Like, this is definitely Bill's movie, and the more it goes along, the more I'm definitely on board with my man playing this character. But again, I don't really get on board with him until after the death scene, and then we start getting into like the good stuff, which is actually pretty good, you know. And we haven't talked about Danny Houston yet. I'm sure we will, because he is probably my favorite in this movie. Danny Houston, the character that he plays.
I like Danny Houston a lot.
I do, and maybe it's just because he really doesn't do that much, so he's not getting overexposed in this movie or whatever. But when he plays these type of characters, I think he nails it every time, and I add this to the list. I mean, I'm just glad he's there, because he is definitely the most experienced actor in this movie, and I think it shows.
My only downside to this character is like, I think for him, his deal with the devil, this whole whispering thing, and like him taking lives so he can have an extended life, I feel like in the end, like, there could have been more to him. Like, I feel like there could have been more. I think that whole plot of his character, and there could have been more done with it. Try to go ahead.
Yeah, so it's funny enough, because you guys said you want more Eric, and I personally feel like I was okay with what I got of Eric. I want more Danny. That's actually what I wanted, because the one of the kind of issues I take with the film is, because the original was more of Eric taking on gang members, if I'm correct, right, Luke?
Yeah, and yeah. Go ahead.
And I actually like the idea of, like, no, now he's actually dealing with something else supernatural. I thought, wait, that's actually a nice change. I like that change actually a lot. I thought maybe we can get into more different mythos of the Crow, actually, with an antagonist who deals in supernatural elements as well. But that didn't exactly happen. So I was like thinking to myself, I feel like there's a missed opportunity to go maybe a bit more interesting, because I have a personal love for supernatural like things like that.
Same. Yep.
So that's why I think I wanted more of it. But I guess it doesn't fully hurt this movie, because I still enjoy what we get, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get why there are more supernatural elements and things like that thrown into this. I've never understood it, and they do it more and more in the sequels as the series goes on. I never understood it. It's supernatural enough in the fact that a fucking crow brings your soul back from the dead so you can set the wrong things right. That's enough supernatural stuff I need right there. And I think it just muddies the water of what the point of this whole story is, which is grief. This isn't a franchise. This isn't a superhero. This is somebody that experienced something so bad that they cannot rest, and they have to put the bad things right. They have to make the bad things right. That is the whole fucking purpose. I don't need a fucking bad guy doing the deal with the devil. The fact that just bad people did bad things that need to be punished is enough.
Well, I still feel like that point is still made across in this film. It's just done in a different light, because yes, bad things happen to regular people from other regular people, and you get resurrected just to put that thing right. But I still feel like that's still done just in a different light. It's not just getting vengeance and avenging you and your lover's death. But in this case, I have to save her soul from someone who practically robbed her of her soul, I suppose, actually. It's not the worst. I mean, it's a bad thing. You guys were both killed. She's been through some shit. She was forced to do something completely against her will that stained her soul forever.
Yeah, and I don't need that either. She can still be a drug user and be fucked up, and she doesn't have to have like a deal with the devil. And she can still die, and Eric can still be pissed about it and still come back, because that wasn't supposed to happen to them.
which is what's going on in the original material. Is like, again, they're about to start their lives, and then it gets cut short, and that is the stain that it leaves. Not, hey, she made a deal with a guy who made a deal with the devil, and now you have to go save her soul. Like, no, you're coming back because you were this close to having the life that you always wanted, and somebody took it away from you.
Which argument still happens.
Well, no, it does still happen, but it's also got that element of like franchisey superhero thing, because this kind of ends with a vibe that like they might have thought they might have had something on their hands, and we might have gotten sequels.
Am I the only one who did not see sequel at the end of this? I really did not see a sequel happening after this.
Only whatever line he says about like your work isn't done or some shit, like that's the only thing where I went, really? Do you really think you got something on your hands here? Because even if people did like this, I still don't think it ends up becoming anywhere near to being franchise material.
No. I could see how they left it where if, let's say, this fucking soared in box office and like, oh shit, this did really good, let's make another thing and continue to make money. They left it where they could do that if they wanted to. Do I see it being a good idea? No. Do I see it happening now after the box office? Absolutely fucking not. But, you know, I can't blame also a creator being like, I'm going to leave it ended this way. That way, if we want to come back to it and make more, we can.
Maybe, and it's, you haven't seen it, you didn't see all of it, so right now it is just me. But the simplicity of the book and what the first one is, because not again, but so far the closest I've gotten to that book is the original. Right? I get elements, I've gotten images, but for like exactly what I read, that first one is the closest thing I've ever got, which also is why that first one is held in such high regard. But
so can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So we see a character named Kronos, who's kind of like the catalyst of this and him getting his abilities, right?
Yeah.
So, and kind of acts as like a spiritual guide almost to Eric, if you want to go that far. Was Kronos, like, seeing just the bit of the abilities that we saw, was he the original Crow and he's passed on the mantle to Eric? Or I'm just curious, like, where does because Kronos for me in different mythoses has a big meaning, so I'm just curious about this character and like what part it plays.
He's brand new. He has elements of the skull cowboy character that I mentioned before.
Okay.
He kind of acts in that way. Whereas, I mean, there's panels in the comic where Eric is essentially riding a train. He's in limbo and he's riding the train to heaven. And the Skull Cowboy is the conductor and is constantly telling him like you're not done yet type of deal, and keeps sending him back. That type of shit. So Kronos is kind of that character, but you know, they put their own spin on it. Yeah, they put.
See, that's another thing actually too, because I actually like that character, and again, I kind of wanted more.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying, like, as simple as the original is, I did like some of the added supernatural elements to this film, actually. And Kronos is another casualty of, I kind of think I want more of this, because the most we ever get of the look of the afterlife is that, like, warehouse train station looking place that they're in.
You know what? You know what's fun? If you guys, either one of you decide to do this, you have to finish the original and you have to watch it first of all. But there's deleted scenes that you can find on the internet from the original where they actually filmed the Skull Cowboy and they have a dude in the full makeup and shit. Character looks badass as fuck. Why they cut the scenes, I don't know. But if you ever want to, check that shit out. It's pretty cool. So like, just give me that character. You know, I think that character would fit in any version of any of these movies. We don't need to call him something different. He doesn't need to be a weird amalgamation of things. Just give me the character.
See, like, I want more, for me, I want more supernatural stuff, especially with this guide of Kronos, right?
You're not wrong, Dan.
So for me, like, Kronos, if I think of Kronos, I think of Greek mythology. And, you know, Kronos is the father of Zeus, of Poseidon, of Hades, and he is the god of time. So there's a lot of sense to me why the god of time would have allowed to be like, it's not your time yet. Go take care of them. Now, he also, if we want to get further into the depths of like Olympic and Greek lore, like Kronos is an absolute a-hole. He's an awful god. But, you know, not diving into, you know, what you guys would consider class time with me.
Class is in session.
My whole thing with it is like, I almost wish there was more supernatural stuff, because there could be, if we dived into it, you could end up tying some really cool and unexpected like mythos plot points to this story. And I think
Sure.
me being the supernatural lover that I am, and like the lore of lover of lore and mythology, it would have been really cool to see that sort of shit happen.
I don't hate that. I just don't think this is a story or a franchise, if it needs to be a franchise, that needs it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But there are
Yeah, that's fair.
there are different graphic novels that touch on different aspects because of different cultures. Like there's
Sure.
a Native American that gets the power of the crow, right? There's World War II people that have gotten the power of the crow. Like there's so many different avenues that you can do this. That if you wanted to make another crow movie at all, you might as well just make one of those. It doesn't always have to be Eric. And that's going to get into my point that I want to make later.
Okay.
As far as this movie is concerned,
It's only men named Eric who die that get this power.
it's starting to seem like that. But as far as the Kronos is concerned, this whole franchise is littered with like weird names. Alex Corvus, Eric Draven, Shelley Webster, Tintin, Top Dollar. Like there's just all these weird names that these characters
That's
get.
fair. That's
So
fair.
I don't read into it much more than that. But as far as the character in the mythos, it's basically the Skull Cowboy.
Okay. Good to know.
Gotcha. Anyway,
I mean, I just want to say that I really, really like the visuals. I love the grunginess and how the colored, like,
yeah.
The action's great. I think they did a lot of practical effects for the blood as well.
Yeah.
Like specifically like when the one girl in the very beginning, Shelly's friend, had to like stab herself in the neck, like that was full prosthetic and blood bag behind her, like underneath. Like I appreciate the practicality they used in a lot of areas for the violence.
They made it for 50 million, so you better believe that dollar went a long way.
No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of good here. Like I don't
Also, this
dislike
takes place
this
in
film.
Detroit.
I didn't think this movie established that.
No, this
Yeah,
place.
there's a fucking they bet you grass it.
Yeah, so that's what's weird is they show Gratiot Avenue, which I know the comics take place in Detroit, right?
Yes.
However, a lot of what I saw in the film was like, okay, this was filmed more in New York.
Oh no! They definitely did not film in Detroit.
Yeah,
But it's
I know,
supposed to be
but
Detroit.
they didn't even try to make it seem like Detroit, other than that one Gratiot Ave.
Yeah, if they didn't
Graffiti.
do that, I wouldn't have had any idea either. Like I'm pretty sure that's Prague. God damn it! Like I'm pretty sure. And then so real quick, because this has been a movie that's been in development hell since like 2008. They've been
Mhm.
trying to do this. Bradley Cooper, Mark Wahlberg, Nicholas Hoult. I can't remember the other guy's
Jason
name,
Momoa
but he's in
even did.
he's in Boardwalk Empire. Jason Momoa is the closest we had gotten up until this point.
Yep.
They have been trying to do this for years, and at one point, Corin Hardy, if anybody has seen, I think the first Nun, Corin Hardy made that film. The imagery is amazing. The story itself kind of sucks. Anyway, Corin Hardy and
I
Jason
love the
Momoa
color
were going to
grading.
do it. They were going to do it. You can look up online and you can see test footage with Jason Momoa in the full makeup. It's great.
Looks so good.
But he was sending James O'Barr, the creator, pictures in Ireland of sets that he wanted to make because he wanted to shoot in Ireland. And James O'Barr was like, this actually looks like Detroit, but they were going to film in Ireland. So I don't know why they don't film here other than maybe the fucking tax credits or whatever.
I'm
But
sure
yes,
it's just how Michigan destroyed the filming industry here.
It's right. I'm 100%. But it's supposed to take place here. And this one, I guess, does take place here. But you wouldn't know it unless you know that fucking Gratiot Avenue is like right next door to my house.
Yeah.
So that is a bummer too, because the fact that it takes place in Detroit is a huge part of the story in the comic, and even in the first one, they throw more towards you, let you know it's Detroit. But yeah, that bums me out that they placed it in Detroit, but didn't bother to make it look like Detroit.
Yeah, because you could tell it was New York. all
But I
the
want to
way.
get. No, I'm not even playing. I'm pretty sure that's like Prague or some shit. I'm not even kidding. But I do want to highlight the action in this movie because it's the best action I've seen in this franchise, hands down. And thank God for movies like John Wick because everybody's learning
you're
their
right.
lesson.
It was Prague.
Everybody's learning their lesson, and it's great because the action is the highlight of this movie for me. That car scene.
Oh, that was
fucking-
awesome.
The
That was
opera
good.
scene.
That was
Like they do the action very, very well. And they go, and I do like that this crow feels pain. I do like that when his fucking shit gets wrecked, it is wrecked. So I give them credit for that as well. Because that's something that hasn't happened in any other ones. My man is just like the Terminator in every other iteration.
By the end of this economy,
I was gonna say by the end, he doesn't really show the pain he's in.
Well, and that goes to the origin story of this, because and it is something that I don't like that this movie does, in the fact that the actual crow part of it really doesn't matter. So the whole point of the crow is to be like a conduit, right? The
Right.
crow brings your soul back. You're supposed to be able to see things through the crow's eyes. And if the crow gets hurt or gets killed, you are now mortal. You're not immortal anymore. You wouldn't know that in this movie because they pay zero attention to the actual bird.
Yeah, they
But
made it
dude,
say like, "Oh, the crow will guide you to where you need to go," but basically he did all of his fact finding on his own.
he does his own
And-
detective
and
work.
it was
Isn't
more-
bad.
Which I don't dislike, but the bird's
no.
also the crow's just like, "I'm your familiar. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
swoop around with you. Hey."
Exactly.
I saw moments where the crow was I see pointing him in the right direction. No,
Kind
It,
of.
honestly,
I would-
I
I would
agree.
concede kind of.
However, I was fine if they made it less subtle. Put it in my
Hmm.
face.
I mean, it is in all the other iterations. Literally, like it goes from them being able to see through the crow's eyes, to transforming into a fucking crow. Just depends which iteration you want. I don't hate this one for that reason, but I mean, it's a pivotal part of the story. It's supposed to
Sure.
be his fucking weakness.
Sure.
He has no weakness in this movie. He just needs to get used to the fact that he's immortal.
and deal with the pain.
But those are cool scenes, though. I gotta say, those are pretty cool scenes.
And I hate opera too, but I'm gonna say watching him kill all those
Dude,
dudes, and the
I
opera music was
love-
actually pretty awesome.
Honestly, even just like the theatrics of the opera being performed itself looks so fucking cool. I loved
they
that whole sequence.
This does a nice job of incorporating his immortality into the fights too. Like, he's shooting through himself, he's stabbing
Mhm.
people through himself and shit. Like, it's a nice touch.
It's
I do
funny.
like it.
Dan was like, "Man, that's a short sword." And then after they had to pull the sword out of him. I was like, "That's why it's such a short sword."
That was stupid. That is stupid what they did with that. I forgot all about it, Daniel. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't like that at all, because the crow, it's supposed to be the fucking bird. What do you mean?
Yeah, and so like he gets his one bit of doubt. Like he wasn't even given like time to process the like video he just got, and it's like, "Nope, your love's no longer pure. Fuck you."
But it's been here's really why I don't like that, is that it had been alluded to before, where Shelley even says, "You wouldn't like me if you knew yada yada yada." But like,
Yeah.
you're both already not the best people to begin with. Not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like if you're gonna get into a relationship with somebody that you know has baggage, you
And
gotta
we'll
accept
tell you the
baggage.
baggage, and we'll say,
You
"You
gotta
won't
accept
like
it."
me. I've done really bad things."
Right, but you gotta like accept it.
And
Otherwise,
she even said to him, "If you find it where it's hard to love me harder." Like,
well, so that just kind of spits in the face of what this whole thing is supposed to be about. He comes back because he's in love. So what's the point of coming back if you're gonna end up having doubt? Like, what the fuck?
right.
So I didn't really like it. I didn't really get it. But luckily there's other stuff that I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so I liked this movie. I didn't have a bad time. I didn't love it. There are issues I have with this film, but I did enjoy it, and that's me coming from not even knowing the original, like the original film.
I really want you to watch it so bad now. I do, to go back to Dan saying about the Lone Ranger did Rebirth better. I will say that, like, the original does the resurrection scene really fucking well. My personal favorite, and I mean out of any resurrection scene I've seen in any movie, is the second one. Just watch that scene. The Crow City of Angels resurrection, just watch that. This one was kind of lame. He just kind of wakes up.
It was kind
But-
of weird because at first you didn't really realize he was in like the afterlife with the way it like happened. Like when he
I mean,
woke up in the river, or like the water, the river, whatever, and then just sees a dude. It almost felt like that was like still real life.
I did not have an issue understanding what they were doing with that, and I
Same.
actually really liked how
Same.
they depicted the afterlife and the whole thing with the water and shit. The imagery is on point. Like, this definitely fits into this franchise as far as imagery is concerned. It's pretty good.
Check your phones for something, by the way, too. I'm not gonna say it on stream though.
All right, can I say it on stream?
No,
All right.
Okay.
it's
I
another
get-
point that I have. It's another point I have to make on why what you talked about the weakness being love to remain pure doesn't bother me.
No, and that's fair. That's fair.
No,
I can see
hey.
that point of view too.
I get it. You know, being in relationships and shit too. Like, I totally understand it. I just don't like that he's supposed to be so in love, but yet, you know, that shakes him. Like he already knew there was something pretty fucking bad. So,
but it can still
I
catch
don't
you
know.
off guard,
It's
even if you know.
Well, yeah.
it's just
So
got
it
more
can
to do
catch
with the
you. It
fact
can.
that I just don't like him.
So
It's just got more to do with that. He's
I
just not
wanna-
that likable of a character to me.
I want to say, like, I agree with you, Dreaded. Like, it can completely catch you off guard, and you need time to process it. That's why I was surprised. Like, just because he's processing doesn't mean he's not in love with her, and the love
Oh, yeah, I
isn't
think he's
pure.
trying to
You just
take away
need,
that
like, they took that away immediately. Where in my watching it in the moment, I was like, man, I felt like that man was a little gypped right here. Like, I feel like y'all did that too. Didn't give him enough time. Because, like, just because he was questioning things doesn't mean he didn't purely love her.
Is it possible the rules might just be very specific in the world of the supernatural, possibly?
So I guess
I think
just
it's like the
suppose
Fae that they just don't want to give you the full details.
if you're gonna give him a weakness, just make it the bird.
But the story's about the love and the revenge for his love.
And saving
Understandable,
Bill,
but his conduit, the whole thing that brings him back to life is the
Is the
bird.
crow,
So if
yeah.
you sever that link,
Because
there you go.
basically, he's not a living human being anymore. He is a immortal soul, and the only reason his soul's able to traverse is because his crow that carries his soul is there. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So by not having the crow play any part in that, it's really no longer the crow. It is something completely different, which I think is a detriment to the film. Not a huge detriment because it's just something different, but like
Sure.
it completely negates the purpose of the bird because that's the thing that brought him back anyway. It wasn't his love that did it. It was the bird. I'm just saying.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm just saying. I'm keeping this strictly to like the source material shit. Okay. Like I'm not trying to say anything about anybody or who you are as a person or what you think. I'm just saying for this movie, for this franchise and stuff like that, it just certain things just didn't really hit for me. And that's one of them.
Fair.
I still like this though. I still like this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong.
So, gentlemen, do we have any other thoughts you want to make sure we get out before we rate it?
Yeah, the fucking violence is badass. He fucking sticks a sword into a dude's mouth and splits it like
Dude, I was surprised it got to that level. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yo, I can't say enough about the fact that when this movie turns on, like it turns on. And the fact that, okay, we didn't talk about his look either.
That's what we have to get into because I'll say
Yes.
this because me and Luke discussed this in depth when the trailer first came out, and we also talked about it after we saw the movie.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Okay, looking at Brandon Lee, he looks fucking badass. The long hair, the makeup. Looking at Jason Momoa, would have looked awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Bill has two issues in my opinion. No face paint, like the white face paint, and not enough hair. So when I first saw,
I like his jacket, though. I
his
love the
jacket's
jacket.
badass. I love the jacket. However, I will say this: the look. I feel like there's two reasons why I like this look at the end. One, I think I liked. Okay, I know in the original he became the Crow. He got his flashbacks of what happened and kind of became the Crow off the bat. But I think watching him descend into doing what I have to do kind of made it work when he puts the little makeup on and stuff like that. I feel like story wise, like I think I like that a lot. I like kind of watching him grow to become the Terminator. Like initially he's not the Terminator. I sometimes forget, oh wait, you're supposed to be dead. You feel very alive a lot of the time here, actually. Like you
Right,
never
yeah.
died.
No,
But by
same.
the end, like I feel like, okay, you're really embracing that. So I kind of like watching, I guess you could say, the descent into maybe quote unquote madness of like, I'm killing all of you and I'm going to cut your heads off and I'm going to throw it at the big crowd of the opera, which I love that. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that's cool scene. That's cool.
And number two, oh, no, I'm not done yet. Number
sorry.
two, I will say this too. I think him being covered in his own and other people's blood made the look really work, actually. I really
Yeah.
think, and I also realized that, sometimes minimal design stuff can still be effective if used well. And I think his jacket, like starting to slice in places, him being covered in people's blood and everything like that, like, and also just kind of, I feel like him, I don't want to say losing his sanity, but just completely like, fuck everything, going full on. Wait, I can't use that reference. What's a good reference to use here?
For what?
For just like straight up fuck it. I don't care if y'all shoot me this many times, like I'm tanking this shit. You shoot me, you stab me, I will stab myself through the gut to kill you. I will shoot myself through to kill you. Like just straight up, nope, don't care. You will die and I will hurt myself to do it.
And I was gonna say I see like Wolverine do that. I've seen Deadpool do that, obviously to different lesser extents because ratings
not-
and
it's
who
not
I
what
feel like I've
studios
got a
are
really
having
good
it.
one. I just can't think of it.
Yeah, me
it's
too.
not,
There's something
it's not
that's
the
sitting there.
violence. It's not the violence I'm implying. It's the mindset of
Right.
fuck it. But you know
No,
what?
yeah,
Okay, how
no,
about this? How about
I
this?
hear you.
Without getting too much into it, I think he gets into an Aaron Yeager mindset by the
Okay.
end
Oh,
of it. Kind of
yeah,
like how he
yeah,
does.
yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. It's just like,
No, I
I'm
can see that.
done.
Yeah.
Like it's over. You are all dead. Like
Mhm.
you're screwed for. So I feel like again watching the descent into it, but at the end when he puts it on and just him just being completely covered in everyone's blood, it was like, yeah, I think.
I
the
also
look
appreciate that we get everyone's blood and his blood on him for so long, because a lot of films keep it so clean, keep the main character so clean and neat looking, even during the gore. And I appreciate that they didn't shy away from having that.
Yeah, and I think Bill sells that kind of madness mindset by the end of this too with his acting, honestly, too. Like he's not really talking that much. He's using just like his facial expression and his body language to show like oh shit, here he comes.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily need the blood. I do like that it's there. I do like that the violence is there because it's in the book. But like in the original has a scene kind of similar where Brandon Lee goes into a club and he literally sits on a table and he's like, "Look, I'm here for this guy, but if you want to start some shit,
I'll kill
do
you."
it." And then he wastes everybody in the club. I like when he came out of the bathtub, he was clean, and I was kind of funny too. But as far as the design is concerned, I'm not a fan of the tattoos. Like he's got one where like his nipple is the eyeball. It's fucking why. But I mean, as far as his mullet is concerned, I don't hate it because there's mullets in the comic. His whole grungy kind of aesthetic is very much in line with the comic, so I don't hate that either. But I like him a lot more when he finally is like in the getup and he has a trench coat. I don't like
Yeah.
how he got the trench coat because it's them being in some random dude's house who just happens to be his size. But I don't hate the look. And when he actually has it on and like you were saying and is doing stuff, it is badass.
It looks sick.
His makeup, his actual makeup doesn't completely hit for me, but it works in this context.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works out too, though, because I don't think in the with the character that we have gotten for this Eric, I don't think he would have taken the time to do that full makeup.
Fair, but he managed. He had enough time to sit through all them fucking tattoos, though.
That was
I'll be
prior
honest.
to Death and Revenge.
I have never minded all the tattoos. Honestly, I thought it was okay. I look at it as a modernized Eric. Not everyone will have all those tattoos and stuff like that, but I don't know. I guess it's
Okay,
it's
so
a weird thing to explain.
Well, you would think because the whole point of getting tattoos is to kind of like tell a story anyway. So you're looking at his tattoos and you're like, what the fuck does any of this really mean to you?
Honestly, I think that like how we saw his walls were cluttered with writing and drawings and stuff, I think it's just he made his body an additional canvas for like these interesting thoughts that he needed to get out of his mind.
I guess I could buy that, but like the artistry, the drawings themselves, I think do a better job than the tattoos do.
Sure.
Okay, I guess
They're
maybe
also
it's
drawn by
more-
his hand
maybe-
instead.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, nothing really. Yeah, but yeah, I by the end of it, by the time I watched the movie and by the time we get to the end, I was like, okay, I like the look, and my crush on Bill Skarsgård went up high key.
My favorite, you guys obviously have not seen all of these films, but my favorite makeup is in the third movie because it's like actual scars. The character gets scarred in the face, and that turns into the makeup. That's a nice touch. I enjoy.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
that one's honestly probably my favorite. Obviously, the original like can't be beat in my opinion, but it's just iconic. It's just so fucking iconic. But I'm open to new ideas. Like I said, with the scarring one, this one, it's just I don't understand why it's so hard to come up with something that looks good. Jason Momoa they were gonna go back to the original.
Damn.
I don't hate that. That's a good one. I don't hate that idea. But if you're gonna do something different, I feel like there's at least like a little more creative way. Like I feel like we could have done a little more. But he still looks good when he's in everything. Does look good.
Oh, you good?
Uh oh. Yeah, you good?
I think someone just got in a car accident outside my house.
Whoa. Yo, Dan just said that was a bad accident.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
Yep.
Damn. Is it bad?
According to Daniel. But of
They're just yelling at each other outside on the road.
course they are.
Wait, you're in Pontiac. Get down.
So yeah.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
Sorry for
No,
my
you're not-
reaction, guys. That
No,
just
no,
like,
no, you're good. You're good.
oh my
Those
lord,
aren't
that's
your thoughts. You have another 10 to go on, remember?
Is it okay if I do it now? Are we at that point?
yeah. Go for
I think
it.
you're good. Go for it.
Okay,
Let's hear it.
so I love this story. I love this comic. I love the first
I
one.
can still hear you. I'm just gonna go make sure everything's okay.
You're good. I have my thoughts on the sequels. They vary from okay to utter shit. But like, this is a franchise that I think for whatever reason doesn't get the proper time or effort to maybe make something great, because like we were discussing with the Star Wars fan base, this fan base is very fucking vocal in the fact that there shouldn't even be anything past the first one. And while I don't necessarily disagree, the fact that they keep wanting to make movies with this name, I think is a good thing. And like, we need to be more open to the fact that good movies can be made. Just the fact that somebody announces they have the thought of making another Crow film, the pitchforks come out, and it's supposed to be DOA on arrival. It's so bad that the director of the first film, Alex Proyas, comes out all the time and goes, you should not make another one. You're going to shit on the legacy. Nobody is shitting on the legacy. That first film can't be touched, okay? Just because we make another one doesn't mean that it somehow takes away from that one. You can't take away from that one because it's got that fucking legacy to it. You're never going to be able to touch that. That's forever going to be a classic. Everything that it took to get the book made, everything that it took to get that movie made, what happened to Brandon Lee, that's never going to change. That is always going to be, it's always going to be that version. I think it is a shame. It is a disservice that we haven't gotten that book onto the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the original, the Brandon Lee original is the closest we've ever come, but that book in and of itself, I think would make a great film. And I've always said that if there's going to be another one, that should be the way that you go about it. If you're going to do the character of Eric again, make that movie or turn that book into a fucking movie. Or if you're going to keep doing it, there's other source material, man. There's other stories. Start pulling from the other comics. They're all great. But the fandom needs to take a fucking chill pill. What happened to Brandon Lee was tragic. The movie is great. That's not going to change. Stop getting in the, or trying to get in the way of a movie being made. Do you understand how fucking hard it is to make a fucking movie? It's incredibly hard. It takes years. People are putting their time and effort and energy into something. Stop trying to fucking DOA it as soon as you hear about it. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I've been hearing about this for 30 years. Enough. You guys have got to calm down. Same with the Star Wars fandom, but like, just because you can bitch about it on the internet doesn't mean you should. And it's really annoying to see Alex Proyas, a filmmaker in his own, a successful filmmaker in his own right, try and take away other opportunities from people just because he doesn't want anybody to touch something that isn't even his. It's not yours, dude. It's James O'Barr's. This isn't just something that benefits other filmmakers. It benefits a little fucking comic artist from Detroit. You're taking stuff away from him every time you say that as well. Who, by the way, advocates for the original all the time. Says that he was a friend of Brandon Lee, just like everybody else who worked on that movie. He's got just as much stake into that first one as you do, as anybody does. So when you come out and you're like, you're going to tarnish the original, fuck this, we're never going to watch it, blah, 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 you're just doing a fucking disservice. You need to stop. It's very annoying.
I think the criticism of you're going to tarnish the legacy of the original is actually not even a real criticism. Because like you said, it's still there. You can go back and watch that. And in all honesty, you definitely don't tarnish Brandon's legacy, but especially if you're trying to do, something different. That's the biggest thing is like, Bill isn't trying to be Brandon Lee. He's really not. Doing it. It's more like, no, I see a very huge difference between Eric in the new one and Eric in the old one. I don't see Bill trying to be Brandon Lee. And honestly, this is a weird one to compare it to because I just thought about this. It's kind of like when people were giving Will Smith shit for being the genie compared to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, Robin's genie is iconic, but you're not going to shit on his legacy if you do it again. And you only really do that if you disrespect him by trying to be him, by trying to imitate him or something like that, which Will did not do. Robin Genie and Will Genie are two different entities, just like Brandon Eric and Bill Eric. They're not the same. And
I think that would
maybe
that would be the same if you made the book. They're two completely different characters from that book to the fucking movie.
Yeah, and also Alex, I don't know how to say his last name. Calls this. He thought it was a cynical cash grab, which I don't think that's the case either. This does not feel like that 100%.
That's why the first one was made. It was supposed to be a fucking cash grab. That's the whole reason of adapting it in the first place.
If it was a cynical cash grab, why would the budget only have been 50 mil?
Exactly.
Time out. I don't want to defend the man, but there is a point to be made there because this happens all the times with franchises. The one that I can definitely name that is the most egregious is the Hellraiser franchise. The studio that owned that kept pumping out shitty fucking straight to DVD, straight to streaming movies just to keep the rights. So people do that, and that to me is the cash grab. Not so much, hey, we're going to invest the time and effort to put it into a fucking movie theater, as a cash grab. I don't think that's ever a thing.
Okay.
Maybe it's just me, or at least not in this context.
No,
but
I think that's fair.
Definitely does happen. I don't think it's happening here though.
Yes. Oh, so I think that's what I was gonna get at too. Is like, yeah, that does happen, but this does not feel like that. This feels like, okay, you tried something, everything didn't work, but I feel like there was still effort put in and thought, even if maybe not everything was fully, maybe completely thought out, but it doesn't feel like just make it so we can keep the rights. This doesn't feel like something that was meant to be direct to DVD. It feels like something that was trying in a way.
Yeah, there's definitely effort put into this. There's definitely love for the source material put into this, 100%. And I think that I can't actually get a Crow movie to flourish the way that I think that it can because of the backlash that they always get.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big reason why the movie was in development hell for all the years, is because the internet went fucking crazy every time.
Like, Brandon's movie is still there and it's not going anywhere. But just because someone else wants to do it again doesn't mean like someone else can't do it. It's not like that. It really doesn't work that way.
And that to me is like, you're not really a fan then, because there's so many iterations, and even the original book to the original movie is, like I said, is 2 different iterations. You've never actually gotten the book on screen. And if it wasn't for Brandon in the first place, you wouldn't even have had that movie be as close as it was. So that's even more of a legacy. That's not going to get touched, guys.
And I know that's like, not only is the OG director, even the OG Shelley says that she was disappointed with this film being made. And okay, look, I will give them this benefit of the doubt. They worked on that movie. They were with Brandon, and I'm gonna be real. Most likely, I mean, I don't know the full story, but I would imagine a lot of them probably saw him die. Sure. So maybe it hits different because they were there. Like, he was our responsibility. We were supposed to like take care of him, make him sure he was safe, and then we lost him. So I can give the benefit of the doubt that maybe that still hurts you. And I can understand maybe having some iffy feelings, but I don't think I'm not gonna actually go in because everyone's gonna process these things very differently. So I won't go super deep into it, but I just personally don't think this is not spitting on his legacy. It's a new thing. It's different. It's not like you're trying to make the exact same movie that happened last time, because this is a very different movie from that.
I don't think any of the films are spitting on his legacy, other than the fact that it just as the franchise as a whole, like, bad movies kind of do tarnish the name of the franchise, but it doesn't do anything to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why there's just all this up in arms shit about it. And then the most annoying part is the fact that the fucking director who had to fucking fight to get his vision of that movie made is doing exactly what they were doing to him. But anyway, that's my diatribe, I guess, on fandoms. It's just like, man, I understand. We understand. We've had our shit get adapted badly and had our fucking heads. We've been fed shit sandwiches by the fucking adaptions of our favorite stuff too. And I've seen all the sequels. I've seen the shitty ones, right? I get it. I understand that compared to the first one, they're fucking terrible. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that we don't try. And the fact that it has a name is the reason why it's even going to get greenlit in the first place.
A really cool YouTuber once said, I'd rather watch a movie try and fail rather than even just fail to try.
Yeah. This isn't a cash grab.
It's really not.
And you
It's
know
just-
what? I'm sorry, but I had the thought earlier because so the first one is very 90s. It's very grunge.
Mhm.
This one is very much fits in today's society. Like these are the characters. Like if there wasn't an original and they adapted The Crow, I feel like this is exactly what they would do today.
Mhm.
Honestly. So I get it. And so I'm wondering because I saw the movie way too early. I was way too young to watch it. 100%. But I think if I would have been about between the ages of 12 to say 18, and this movie came out in the early 2000s to mid 2000s to even late 2000s, I would have been very interested to see what that movie would have looked like because they very much reflect their time. So the biggest gripes that I have with this are just the fact that it doesn't, it's not a style that I particularly gravitate to, but I get it.
Gotcha.
And I think that's a big part of why people are so up in arms. Like you look at the grunge and the time frame and the rock music and the aesthetics and the flashing lights and everything. It fits perfectly in that time frame. It fits perfectly with the source material that it's based off of. This one probably does too, but you gotta be able to open up and look at it through that lens.
All right. I think I said all my thoughts on the film as well.
I have, for now.
I have as well. Shall
you
we
wanna
get
score this
into
off?
scoring it, guys?
Yes.
Alrighty. Who wants to start? Or do you want me to?
You
You
should.
go ahead.
Okay. There are issues I have with this film, as I stated. But in general, I still really like this film. I think it had a decent premise. There are some areas I think it could have been stronger. I think this film also, if you wanted to pull away some of the details, you could also do a really good separate film without The Crow, which is a compliment to it. I'm not necessarily saying that as a hindrance to it in its story. I think they have just kind of two different sides of this film, which is the setup and then what we were waiting for. And even the setup just was in itself really intriguing. Absolutely love. My favorite thing about this is probably just the visuals, the design, the action, the color grading. I also am a fan of the soundtrack that we got on this, something I didn't get to mention before because it slipped my mind. But in all,
It was pretty badass.
it's a good movie. It's not amazing. It's not great. It didn't blow my socks off, but I did like it, and I still think it was a good time. And I think there's a lot of decent practicality to this as well. But for me, I give it a 6.
Okay. I will go next. I really actually like this movie, and it makes me sad that this film is a bomb because I feel like lack of marketing and probably some very vocally irritating fans probably speaking out against it. Honestly, hurts it. Yes, it's not perfect in a lot of ways, but I feel like this movie gets a big of a jump for me because I think of a relatability between how Eric feels about Shirley and how far he would go to save someone he loves, actually, which is like, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Okay.
You should
Sometimes-
read the book.
Maybe I should, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta be the guy who's like, oh, I'll go through hell and back just to make sure you're okay again, right?
Yeah.
Like I like the characters. I wanted a little bit more supernatural stuff, but I'm still okay with what I got. The action is awesome. There was some weird choices of licensed music moments, actually, which I kind of forgot to bring up in the actual review. I was like, okay, that was strange, actually. But as a whole, I like this movie enough that I'm saying I want to watch it again because I just liked it that much. This movie is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Awesome. Considering that I even the really, really bad ones, I'll sit down and watch them because they're Crow films. So like I have no problem saying that I will watch this movie again. And I think that this movie will grow on me more as time goes on. But right now, the main characters in the beginning are not my favorite, but Eric in particularly grows with me as he in fact grows. I like the fact that they actually introduced like the pain mechanic, you know? So like,
Mhm.
yeah, he's immortal, but this motherfucker feels it. That was cool. The action sequences are really good. The imagery is really good. The mood is really good. Danny Houston is pretty good. He's a really good villain. His whole supernatural thing, like I said before, I don't need it. I don't need all the supernatural in this thing. There's enough of it as it is. I think less is more when it comes to the villains. You know, that's why I like the villains in the original so much. They're just guys. They're very
characterized. You know, they all have their own personalities and they're very much characters, but they're just guys who do bad things and they deserve to die.
That's what we got up until we finally got to Danny.
Right. Well, but there's still the whatever. But yeah, so those are things that keep me from putting this higher. However, based on all the other Crow movies that I've seen, this definitely is the second best one, hands down. Hands down. So for me, this is a 6.5.
Okay.
And I really do anticipate that the more I watch it, the more it will grow on me, especially because of those action sequences.
I'm surprised.
God, those are cool.
I'm surprised that going in with no knowledge of the Crow that I'm still the lowest.
I'm so I'm funny. It's funny that I have some knowledge and I'm the highest.
Honestly, I was wondering about this because Riley really liked it too. So I was just like, it honestly feels like an age difference. Honestly, it really does. And that's why I don't want to say this is the Gen Z Crow as like a negative, because it's not. It's just, it definitely fits the box of like Post Malone, Lil Peep, fucking all that shit. And even the way that they talk and their dialogue is very much for you guys. And that's fine because I'm just looking at it thematically and just the tropes that come with the franchise. That's how I was looking at it as.
Sure.
The fact that I refer to it as Gen Z Crow, that already just means like I have to have more of an open mind. So the tattoos, the overall vibe of what he looks like, the fact that of how they act as characters and stuff, it's not for me, and that's fine. That's totally cool. But I can get on board with everything else.
I think for me, it's funny because I personally kind of hate Gen Z, a lot of Gen Z related things, honestly, too. But I think what really sells it is really works for me is a sense of relatability in how one can like someone, how two broken people can find each other, and how far one would go to save the person you love, actually. Even if it means turning into a madman by the end of it, actually. With some awesome action, actually, too.
Sure.
And some cool ass visuals.
Hey man, I'm glad you are advocating for this as much as you are because I want more of these movies to be made. There's other stories, and I want that fucking graphic novel.
Okay, hear me out. Crow anime.
Hear me out. We're gonna make it.
Honestly, I could see Crow being a good anime. For sure.
Yeah, that especially with the amount of stuff too.
You know what I think would be really good though? Give me Crow, but in like the style and like production level that we got for Sandman.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, shit. They damn near look like the same character.
Damn, they do.
Right? Seriously. So, yeah. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know how much Neil Gaiman had on James O'Barr, or the flip side, how much James O'Barr had an effect on Neil Gaiman. But like, yeah, their vibe and their designs are kind of similar, and they're both really fucking awesome. So, that's why it is a bummer when I get, because this one isn't subpar, this one is above average, but when I've been getting subpar fucking representations of this thing, because the original book is so good, guys. It's so good, and that adds more context to why the first film is so good, especially if you know the lore, right? So I understand the very passionate and heated fan base, but that doesn't mean that we get to be gatekeepers.
Yeah. Oh shit. I think there was something else I was gonna bring up that I cannot remember. Something about the fan base, but I completely lost it. Damn, it bothers me. Oh well.
Anyway, that's what I got.
All right.
Well,
Morgan,
I'll send us home, everybody. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our movie review of The Crow.
I just remember something. What? I just remember I'm still a little upset that Take What You Want was not played in the movie. That is all.
Yeah, fair. It's not even in the credits, is it?
No.
Yeah.
All right, but everybody, we are the Wannabes Podcast. I'm Morgan, that's Luke, and that's Dreaded, and we're your hosts. Thank you for joining us. You can catch us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time over here on Twitch. Stay tuned to our socials on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, and eventually TikTok as well. You'll be finding stuff on TikTok, but you can search us by looking up Podcast Wanna or the Wannabes Podcast. We'll show up either way that you end up searching it, and yeah, go ahead and follow us on over there. And whenever we are going live, you're going to know when we're going live, what we're reviewing, and from there, we're going to dive even further into getting our content up on YouTube. Stay
Chat
tuned as
sooner,
I am.
garden hose.
Have a good one, Gaten. Thanks for joining us. But all right, y'all.
Wait, that's what it is?
Yes.
Bonds!
But yeah, thank you, everybody. Make sure, if you haven't already, head on over to Instagram and also search up the Crawl Space. That way you can give Luke and his movie some love. It's called what? The at Crawl Space Movie? But what is it?
Crawl Space movie.
The Crawl Space Movie. Thank you. My apologies. But yeah, thank you again, everybody, so much for joining us. Go give us the follows everywhere, and we'll see you next week. So stay tuned to our socials so you know what we're going to be reviewing. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Next time, don't forget the popcorn. See ya.